As we continue with action here at the PCW Arena, wow, John Allen back in PCW after an absence of some time. He's a tremendous athlete, and I'm glad to see him back here in PCW. But Newman, he asked Action Jackson for a Fight Win Survive match, and he doesn't care who it's against. So I don't know, that might come back to bite him.
He has the heart of a champion. He doesn't care who he mixes it up with, as long as he gets some action, and I respect that out of anybody. But what I respect more are these knockouts.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of knockouts, somebody could get knocked out right here in this fraternity match that is coming up here, as we see the blonde bomber Chris Stevens entering the ring. And his opponent, of course, is going to be a man very well versed in fighting in frat houses, and that, of course, is KEG brother Moose.
Moose actually authored the book Fighting at Fraternity Parties.
I'll have to read that sometime. Can I borrow your copy?
It's all pictures.
Oh, I see.
He doesn't write too well, get it?
I understand. I understand perfectly. A picture says 1,000 words, and I'm sure that book has thousands of words.
Funny you mention that. 1,000 words is Moose's vocabulary.
Oh, and here he comes. He is back in BCW. Last time we saw him was a capital punishment. He's been mending his wounds, and he is back.
Moose! I think Moose has been hitting the weight room. He has gotten so much bigger and more powerful since the last time that we've seen him in the arena, Rod.
And I tell you what, his training table doesn't just consist of beer nowadays. Of course, he's eating very well at the frat house, but yes, you're right, Newman. He is very strong, very muscular, and I'd say he's the equal of Chris Stevens right there in the ring.
Both gigantic mountains of men, and hopefully we should have an exciting match here. A nice setup here. We have a couch set up opposite us. There seems to be party favors, nice chest. There is actually a keg ringside.
That's right, and Moose brought the keg out to ringside, and indeed this is a fraternity match. Just about anything you can find in a frat house is at ringside, and, oh, well,
funny you mention that, there's Jayla.
Well, I'm not sure if I want to speculate about how much time she's been spending in frat houses, but certainly she's been the power behind the throne, so to speak, when it comes to Chris Stevens. Of course, Jayla still has her feud going on with her former fiancé, the main event, Mike Fox. Oh, and look at this, a spear by the Moose, and the Moose now pounding away on Chris Stevens.
Those hands just have to be big hammers crashing down on your skull.
Irish whip into the ropes, and a big clothesline, and the Moose is indeed on the loose, putting the blonde bomber down. Now, just notice this about Jayla at ringside. She is wearing a heavy chain around her neck. She's got that dog collar. That dog collar chain we saw a couple of weeks ago, but look at this great suplex in the ring by Moose.
I'm so glad you cleared that up. I thought that dog chain was actually some cheap gold.
Well, if it was too cold, I imagine it'd be pretty green by now.
That would explain her shirt.
Well, never mind. Oh, power slam by the Moose. That has got to be all for Chris Stevens, too, and almost a 3 count. Rick Manning, the dean of wrestling officials, in the ring for this one.
Very credited referee, but I got to tell you, sometimes he's a little slow on the 1, 2, 3.
Well,
trust me, when Dave Rhodes was pounding the crap out of me, and I finally got on top of him, it seemed like days and days went by, and then finally he kicked out the 2, and I got, my butt handed to me.
Well, indeed, you did take on Gabe Rhodes. You lost. On the other hand, you took on the Dark Circle with Shadow as your partner. Remember the Eagles BFD, and I remember that match very well. I was there, and I tell you what, you are one tough son of a gun. Well, to even be sitting here being able to talk to us, even, oh my, Moose just went headfirst into that keg, and a clothesline by Chris Stevens.
You can never underestimate the heart of a champion, and I hate to refer to myself in the third person, but New Mania is beginning to run wild in PCW as we see Stevens about to take his perch on top of Moose.
Well, indeed, Chris Stevens, he's one of the toughest men in PCW as he has a twisted wrist lock, and now, big spine buster, and a lot of times Chris Stevens uses that move to put his opponents away. He says, how do you like that? Looking right at me. And I've had the misfortune of having Chris Stevens and Jayla up here in your position one time several weeks ago. Not the most pleasant of experiences.
I would not like to be in any position Jayla's been in.
Look out, Moose goes through the ropes and all the way to the floor. And Stevens coming out after him. Jayla is kicking the Moose. That could turn on her in a hurry. Absolutely, and I believe he's got Moose busted open. And now head first onto the table, and there go the party favors. Oh, my God.
Don't waste the chip, Stevens.
Stevens attacking Moose with the tip.
Growing boys got to eat over here. Look at this, Rob.
Chris Stevens just pounding away on Moose, who is just about helpless right now. Moose not able to mount any offense whatsoever as Moose goes out over the railing. He is upside down right against one of the pillars supporting the roof of this building. We'd better be careful here.
Well, security has got to maintain control of the situation. There are families, women, and children standing just feet away from this lumber being pounded against their heads.
And look at this, a reversal of the whip by Moose, and he throws Stevens in there, and Moose with a clothesline. Stevens has nowhere to go, and now it is Moose running away on the Blonde Bomber.
Moose is a very powerful individual, and when he comes with that closed fist to the side of your head, I would not want to be in that situation.
Well, I hope Chris Stevens is comfortable. He's on the couch right now. Fixture at many frat houses. Look at that, a splash by Moose onto Stevens on the couch. Good Lord.
What's he doing now?
It's Bedlam here. He's standing up the couch.
The couch is long ways up.
Oh, my gosh. Stevens attacking Moose with the tips, but Moose just dropped that couch onto the Blonde Bomber, and here comes Moose just flying through the air on him.
Is that blood? I'm noticing blood, Rob. Moose is bleeding.
Moose is busted open. I think it happened when he hit that steel ring post earlier. Both men are back in the ring now. Rick Manning's back in there as well. And it is Moose probably seeing and tasting his own blood. And look out, a reversal of the whip by Chris Stevens. Charging in, but Moose gets out of the way, and Stevens goes through the rope.
With the blood pouring over his eyeballs, it's amazing that he was, small enough to get out of the way of that shoulder.
Oh, Moose's face is a crimson mask right now. And look out, Chris Stevens has got that chain. Jayla gave him that chain. That Jezebel handing over the chain, that dog collar chain, to Chris Stevens, wrapping it around his fist. And look out! Kick to the midsection. Irish whip, and here goes the chain. He misses. And a side kick by Moose, putting Chris Stevens down.
You know, one thing
Moose
about
on top. Wait a second. 1, 2, and only a 2 count. All right, tell us about Jayla, Newman.
I was just saying, she has some very nice assets. Well, she's quality, in her behavior ringside.
I understand perfectly where you're coming from. I think the Moose is about to go airborne here.
I've never seen mooses fly. I've heard of pigs flying, but never a moose.
Well, we're not talking about Rocky the Flying Squirrel here. We're talking about his buddy the Moose, and here he comes. Oh, my God! Chris Stevens wrapped that chain around his boot, and he stuck that boot up in the air, and Moose hit that boot. Oh, and he pounds him with the chain. Good Lord. And now look at this. He's got the leg tied up in the chain. 2, and wait a minute, we got a 3. Chris Stevens using that dog collar chain.
I want to know one thing. How many fraternity parties have you seen a tire chain involved?
I'm not sure. I'm sure there is some, but I don't think it's very common. Well, Chris Stevens wins this Fight Win Survive tournament match. We're still in the first round, fans, and Stevens advances. Moose is eliminated. It's a single elimination tournament. And Stevens looks like he was checking on Moose. Moose wants no part of it. He knows exactly what kind of man Chris Stevens is.
What's going on here? There seems to be a little spillover to after the match. Moose with his fist raised.
Well, Chris Stevens is acting like he wants to make nice with Moose, but Moose saying no deal. Well, Stevens is raising Moose's hand in victory, and wait just a minute. Wait just a darn minute. Chris Stevens attacked him with that chain. Now he's just stomping on him mercilessly.
Clearly the match is over. The bell had rung. And I don't know what he thinks he's doing out here, going to work on Moose's shoulder as he got him wrapped around the turnbuckle.
And look at this. He's got that chicken wing on Moose in the corner with Moose's left arm wrapped around that top rope. Good Lord, he's about to dislocate the man's arm. Wait a minute, here goes the main event, Mike Fox.
Without the main event, there is no show, Rob.
Absolutely, Numinator. And fans, we've got to get order restored here. More Fight Win Survive on the way here at PCW.
Somebody needs to put the lead back on Jayla and drag her out of here.